Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another Bittensor brief. Today, we'll be covering Subnet 36, Autoppia. So Autoppia says that they're building autonomous companies. So what does this mean? The idea here is that you have organizations, autonomous companies, where AI workers perform tasks independently, much like human workers, but with no supervision. So the idea here is that you don't have workers made of computer programs that are very rigid and can only do exactly what they're instructed to do. They have agency. They are intelligent. They can adapt to change. So you give it a goal, and it decides how it accomplishes that goal and navigates any obstacles it finds in the way by itself. It doesn't need it's not brittle, right? It actually is adaptive and intelligent and can do things independently. So why is the web the natural starting point for Autoppia? Well, the web is where everything happens, right? So web interfaces are how all of us do business, right? So software as a service platforms, CRM systems, email, project management, e-commerce, support tickets, it's all web interfaces, right? So in order to build an autonomous companies, you have to have autonomous workers, and these autonomous workers made of AI must master the web first. So, we all, as humans, we take for granted the fact that we can operate the web, right? We're just sort of like, wow, what's a big deal? Well, for an AI, for bots, just understanding how to interface to the web is itself a very large skill set. Just like, you and I can drive a car pretty easily. Getting an AI to drive a car, it's pretty hard, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of training. The same thing is true of the web. The AI must master the web first before it can create autonomous workers, which are part of an autonomous company. Okay, so how do we make agents that know how to use the web? Glad you ask. Well, that is what Autoppia calls the infinite web arena. And the idea here is you have ever-changing web environments that increase the task difficulty and website complexity. So basically, the idea is like, let's give it a bunch of web-oriented tasks, right? It doesn't even matter what they are, but let's tell the AI agent, go to a website and try to do X, Y, and Z. By the way, what we do to it is we throw obstacles at it, right? So we randomize the HTML layouts. We put the divs and buttons and containers in weird places. We generate new data every time they come back to the website, right? So we're trying to throw them off. Like you've probably seen the videos of people trying to knock over the robots, right? The Boston Dynamics, where they're like knocking the robots over, and the robot like stumbles around. We're kind of doing that to these AI agents, but with really weird web obstacles, right? We're trying to screw it up, and we're trying to see how well it recovers and how well it doesn't fall over. If it does fall over, it stands back up very quickly and regains and retains its balance. So, another thing, imagine like interactive pop-ups, right? You know how when you're working on a web page and all of a sudden like there's a pop-up and you're like, oh, what's this? But you as a human can go and deal with that pop-up. That's exactly the sort of thing that would be most likely to throw off an AI, right? So random modals and pop-ups appearing mid-task, that's the sort of thing we want to make sure that our AI agents are able to handle without any problem. So Autoppia calls this the dynamic zero launch. And, it features this infinite web arena. But the reward mechanism is winner take all. So basically, just like with ridges, right? You don't have miners winning varying degrees of the rewards coming out of the alpha token emissions. You got one person, you got one miner that wins everything. So whoever does the best in every round wins all the prizes, wins all the tokens, wins all the emissions from the subnet. And that makes Subnet 36 more efficient and more competitive. Also, there is a live leaderboard, so everybody can see, so even though if you didn't win, you can see sort of where you ranked in the attempt to win, or if you did win, how close all the other competitors were to you. So next round, how hard you have to work to defend yourself. You can see all the people trying to compete with you and how well they did. So the leaderboard is fully open for everyone to inspect. So for the very first time, anyone can see everything happening inside of Subnet 36 in real time. So this includes live miner rankings and performance tracking, agent and validator activity, historical data in comparison with top miners and state-of-the-art agents. So the leaderboard makes the decentralized intelligence economy visible. Everything is live and transparent, as it should be. So that brings us now to the Autoppia Studio and Marketplace. So this is something which gives business access to AI workers. So the marketplace, you can think of it sort of like an app store for agent templates, right? So, email worker, CRM worker, web agent worker, that sort of thing. This is where you can go buy your workers. So what do these workers do? Well, let's start with one example, manual lead processing. So imagine you have a marketing agency that receives, 50 plus inquiry emails per day from potential clients. Now, of course, a lot of that's going to be junk, right? It's not actually going to be leads. It's going to be people probing you for information, might be competitors. You have to qualify these leads, right? But that's a very painful and very manual process. You have to have a human which reads the email, checks to see if it's a real lead or spam. When somebody sends an email in, you got to Google the company, see if it's real, find their website, look at the basic information, understand what they do, the tech they use, how big of a company they are, so the company size, the location, maybe they can't use your stuff for whatever reason because of the location, what industry they're in. And then, normally a human has to manually fat finger all that information into Salesforce or whatever, and then write a response to the person, right? Craft an email based on what they learned. So this takes a lot of time. So wouldn't it be great if we had an agent which could process that information and do all that stuff? And you don't need the humans to basically process those 50 plus inquiry emails per day. So why Bittensor? Well, Bittensor is the crucible in which you can forge new things very quickly and very cheaply. If Autoppia Subnet 36 does their job right, their progress will mirror, Ridge's, which has proven that you can do this sort of thing. You can basically incentivize the world to make your product better and better and better and better, especially with the same sort of incentive mechanism, the winner take all incentive mechanism, which incidentally is exactly what Bitcoin does as well. So if Autoppia sets up their incentive engine correctly, they do have a shot at producing a lot of very high quality agents, which they can then turn around and let people buy. And Autoppia Subnet 36 has said that they will use all the revenue coming in from agent rentals to buy back subnet tokens. So that's that's how they're going to tie together their revenue and usage and success back to Subnet 36 subnet tokens. So how big is this market? Well, at the moment, it's about 60 billion annually. So that's the addressable market for this sort of thing. But it's projected to surpass 150 to 200 billion by 230. So pretty large addressable market, definitely worth going after. Everybody knows that AI agents and this market in particular is going to be highly contested. So, if you can keep your costs down, if you can market effectively, and if you can compete in this market, the prizes are pretty big. So Autoppia's got a shot at this sort of thing. So if you'd like to learn more, there's a link in, down below, infinitewebarena.autoppia.com. In the video description. My name is Mark Jeffrey. This has been another Bittensor Brief. Hope you enjoyed it. See you all next time.